Many school districts across West Michigan are starting their kindergarten screenings right now.
And even when a child is old enough and academically ready, many parents are still deciding otherwise, electing to wait a year.
When Kim Abel took her 4.5-year-old son for his kindergarten screening nearly a decade ago, she was confident of the outcome.
Because he could read fairly well for his age at the time, and so they said, yeah, he's doing great academically and socially. He does great with the other kids. But then she said, I'm going to encourage you to choose the DK program or do a Young Fives.
Kim was told her son Garrett, who was turning 5 in late July, would be better in the long run starting kindergarten a year later, after he turned 6.
And at first I was a little upset, and I thought, oh, that's not fair. If he's ready, he's smart. I thought, why would we do that?
Crystal Morse has been in education for 24 years, the past 16 as a principal. Her district in Jenison does a similar kindergarten assessment every February or March.
There's 3 different recommendations. There's a definite recommendation for TK, there's a definite recommendation for kindergarten, and then there's an undecided or discussion point, one in the middle. I have had people say, well, you just decide. And I have never made that decision for someone. I usually offer parent experience too. And I have had a child of mine start as a TK student. And part of that was, her birth date. She was younger going in. She would have been just 5 starting kindergarten.
West Michigan parents of children with summer birthdays, June, July, and August, are increasingly starting them in transitional or developmental kindergarten right after their 5th birthday, even if the pre-screening says they're ready for kindergarten.
Historically, we've had 30 to 35% of our incoming kindergarten age students go to TK. So in any of our kindergarten classrooms, likely a third of them, almost a third of them at times, have walked in the door with some TK experience. It's pretty evident right out of the gates.
But then I started talking to my other educator friends, and they said, you don't really see a difference socially at this age. It's more when they're in middle school. You kind of see the maturity levels are different. Middle school's tough enough on kids, so why make it tougher and send them in as the youngest?
Fast forward some 9 years, and today Garrett is an active 13-year-old 7th grader instead of a young 8th grader.
Finally this year, he's old enough to swim on the middle school team. He ran cross country for the first time this year, and he loved it. And it was a great group of kids, and it was a lot of fun.
When you hear parents slow playing their kids to start kindergarten, it's often thought of as a way to produce the next superstar high school, maybe even college athlete. But Crystal Morse says there's so much more to it.
The naysayers will say, oh, you're redshirting a 5-year-old, right? And they look at it from an athletic standpoint, all of those things. But really, it all meshes together so well, from being able to problem solve, frustration tolerance, flexibility, all of those kind of skills that aren't necessarily quantifiable, but you get an entire year to grow those.
The most common concern from parents against a delayed start to kindergarten is that their child will eventually be bored with the curriculum.
And I think that's a concern for some people, like, oh, but academically they're not challenged enough. But now there's so many opportunities for honors courses and AP courses, and kids can take college credits. So I feel like there's enough opportunity available to challenge them academically.
Another real concern is that some parents simply can't afford another year of daycare or preschool if their district, unlike Jenison, doesn't offer all-day developmental or transitional kindergarten.
I think that is a huge factor that definitely everybody thinks about. I know some friends now that have sent their kids to kindergarten twice. Like they knew they wanted a Young Fives program, but their district didn't have it. So they knew, like, when they started kindergarten, that they'd be doing it twice.
If your district doesn't have a TK or that opportunity, there are other ways to meet those needs. And so that would be the biggest thing. Don't hesitate. Don't feel dumb to ask.
Another concern for parents, their child will be the oldest in the grade and maybe stick out.
He's not the oldest. And in fact, he's in the middle of the pack of ages, really. It has been pointed out, at the school that, wow, Garrett is, he's really a strong leader.
Years ago, we pulled information on kiddos that went to TK and how did they fare, and also then looked at kiddos that were recommended for TK and chose not to. And so, how does that look? By and large, our TK kiddos were a ton of our leaders, were a ton of our, kiddos. Like, if you look at our top 10 at graduation, you can kind of look through some of them and you're like, yeah, they were TKers. Now, that's not always it's not a cause and effect, but when you look through some of those folks in the leadership status, I I believe personally that that confidence that we build and even just being able to attack something that's unknown to them plays a factor from then on.
Which eventually leads to attacking college.
When I have those conversations with parents, I say, well, let's project out to 13, let's project out to 16, let's project out to graduation. Are they really ready to start as a college freshman at 17? And me having kids in a span of 10 years, I can kind of speak to, I certainly didn't want my first going to college at 17. I was much happier him going to college as an 18-year-old and one more year of confidence, one more year of growth.
And with the ever-rising costs of college, there's often little room in family budgets to consider anything beyond those 4 years. So struggling in college now means extra costs later.
An extra year of maturity before we send them to college or out into the world isn't going to be a bad thing.
I always feel, like I said, that idea of walking into the classroom confident versus always that feeling of catch-up.
This topic amongst parents seems to be heated sometimes.
It can be.
And I don't know why, because what's right for one child isn't right for another. I just really encourage people to think further down the road, like in a couple years or 10 years down the road, how would this impact him? Because you just don't think about it at the time. Why rush? Why rush it? Just give him the extra year, and we're really happy that we did.
And something else that counselors said to consider is, would you rather your child be one of the first or one of the last in their group of friends to get their driver's license?
Also, as we learned, if you're having second thoughts about the decision you may have made years ago, there is still always time anywhere in the journey, K through 8th grade, in fact, to make the adjustment and slow play their eventual start to high school. Counselors told us the easiest way is to change school districts to eliminate any potential embarrassment out there. And you can do it as late as 8th grade, and it will not show up on your transcripts when they eventually apply to college.
Yeah, different solutions for different kids,
Exactly.
as we heard in that story.